Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, Rabbi shrahli sadri yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Alhamdulillah, we will always say Alhamdulillah. We are approaching the month of Ramadan. It's just a few days away, and I was thinking of actually making a short clip on Ramadan and the moon sighting as well. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in Surah Baqarah and probably in ayah number 183 that, O you who believe, fasting has been ordained for you as it was ordained before people before you, so that you can achieve taqwa. So here, dear viewers, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that that fasting was nothing new for us. It was there. It was there before us. The Christians, they have got the system of fasting. They call it Lent actually. It's from many of the Christians, and as you know, there are different sects of the Christians. Many of them, they fast from Christmas to Easter. They call it Lent. And there are some fasting practice among them that they fast for, I think, 1 or 2 days. And the Jewish people, they fast. The Hindus, they also fast. And they have got one kind of fasting that is called Nirombu Upabash. That is, even they do not drink water. So, interesting thing is that when I was a medical student, it's more than 40 years, or 45 years back, at the time when we used to fast, some of our friends actually, that some of them, they are kind of agnostic, and some even secular as well. So at the time, the knowledge was that that our brain, it needs glucose. So you are fasting. So you are depriving your brain of essential nutrients. But now, and people of faith, and we Muslims, we know that what our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained, has prescribed for us, it is good for us, because He has made us. He is the creator. Like a vehicle, the maker, He knows actually what the vehicle needs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that fasting is good for us. So now, the scientists, they are saying when people fast, it's good for their brain. And there are billions of neurons there, and they're connected, the brain cells, with each other, and huge network. So they are saying that the brain, it secretes, they call it brain-derived neutrophil factor or something like that. So I do not make it a bit technical. Anyway, so that's good for the brain. This is what the scientists, they are saying. And also they are saying intermittent fasting. So Prophet Allah said, that he used to fast, said, that at least 3 days, or Monday and Thursday. So our belief is that the Quran and the Islamic practice, these are ahead of science. Science is behind us. So now, another thing actually, dear brothers, when the month of Ramadan comes, it's kind of a sinking feeling for me and many of us who live in Australia, because of this moon sighting issue. And first, as a disclaimer, I want to say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our brothers' fasting, because each group, like, they have got mashayikh and ulama, behind their logic. So, in Australia, we have got 3 groups. One is the local, like they need to sight the moon, like in the Australian mainland, it's a huge country. And one group, like they call it the regional one, that is, if moon is sighted a country near Australia, like in Indonesia, Malaysia, like it's okay. And one group, they say there's global, anywhere in the world. And one group, like they say that it's the calculation. And all of them, like, they argue. And one interesting point actually that one mashayikh that who made, and he said it's about this calculation issue. He said that that in the Quran, like if dear viewers about Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying go for Hajj riding camels, strong ones and lean ones. So he's arguing that now do we ride camels? Maybe some of them they do. The people, they just fly or they go by ship to Hajj. So about Hajj, like about that hadith of Prophet, we respect the hadith that that you begin your fast by seeing the moon and end your fast. My point is the Prophet always he has chosen the easier option for us. Always. Like if we read the hadith, you will find. Even the Taraweeh, Prophet initially he came for a few days, then he stopped. His worry was it will become compulsory for us. And our our master, from his time, it has become like we do it, like the Sunnah. And the Khulafa Rashidin, we need to follow them as well. So now, about Ramadan. So Ramadan and the Quran, dear viewers, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Shahru Ramadanul Lazunzila fil Quran, Hudal Nas wa Bayinati bin Huda. So the month of Quran, this month of Ramadan, the Quran was revealed. And it's a guidance for mankind. Here it's very interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Hudal Nas. I want to put emphasis on this point, that it's a guidance for mankind, not for just for the Muslims, one group of people. No, it's for whole mankind. Because nowadays, now it's not me, all the scholars are saying that we are approaching the end of the time, the way things are happening in the world. So people actually, they're crying for peace and tranquility. People, they're coming back to religion. So the Quran is the guidance. So Quran, it doesn't belong to the Muslims only, it belongs to everybody. The Quran belongs to everybody. And now about the Muslims themselves, and my viewpoint is that the people who call ourselves Muslims, we should first try to rectify ourselves, because we have got so many pitfalls. It's very easy, like finger pointing, blaming other people, like what we in psychiatry call it projection, that you just blame somebody else. So the month of Ramadan, you see that people, they approach the Ramadan, alhamdulillah, and the pattern is the same. When I was a teenager, what I used to see, it's still happening now. That in the initial few days, the mosque is full. Then, then slowly, the number declines. And the last days, again, the number declines. Same pattern. The point that I want to make actually, that is the month of the Quran. So dear viewers, all of us should read the Quran with meaning. This is very important. Because it's common sense that if we do not know the meaning, it won't go into your heart. And I can challenge many people, they read Surah Fatiha, and many millions of Muslims, they do not know the meaning. So this is why actually there is no impact. So a person who is reading the Quran and who is doing things that he shouldn't do, so it's not going into his heart. And I mentioned actually in one of my video clip last year that there was a systematic actually approach to get people away from the Quran, and it's still happening there. So, dear viewers, that we should utilize our time, saying your Taraweeh, reading the Quran, reading the meaning, and make a plan. Make a plan that what you should do. Like alhamdulillah, that that the last Ramadan that I did, inshallah, this Ramadan, inshallah, again is my plan, and I'm asking you as well. Just that you make a plan that how many surahs you will read or memorize or read the tafsir. So the last Ramadan, inshallah, I did actually the tafsir of the Hamim group of surah. So dear viewers, if you could do that in a Hamim group, so that Hamim group of surah, the Mufassirin, they say, when you read the Quran, this is something like you're walking in a cornfield, beautiful cornfield, the rice and wheat and everything. Then you enter a garden of apples and pomegranates, an orchard. So the scholar is saying, when you read the Quran, it's beautiful, it's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the scholar is saying that when we start reading the Hamim group of surah, subhanallah, this is something like as if I have entered the orchard. So inshallah, this is my plan, and please make dua for me that then I can do it, and all of us, dear brothers. That, and again, another thing, please utilize this time, and this month of Ramadan is very easy to read, to say tahajjud. So I know, alhamdulillah, we have got millions of Muslims, they're so God-fearing. So it's very easy to say the tahajjud prayer. When you wake up for suhoor, say the tahajjud. 2, 4, 8, whatever you can. So utilize your time in doing that. And always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And at the same time, another advice to my sisters that that please utilize the less time about making iftar. This time of ibadah. Yes, it's a tradition we need to make, but again, there is competition, how many iftar you have made, and there is another competition, that you need to send it, for the in-laws and things, and there is no time for you to make ibadah. And people, they should actually help, their wife to making iftar. So in Islam, actually, it's this is not only that the ibadah is always the two part of ibadah. I always mention this. Haqqullah, haqqul ibadah. The right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and right of his servant. And we always forget the right of his servant, actually. Helping other people, giving people is the time, that whatever you do, it's beneficial. Helping your parents, getting dua for the parents, making dua for the ummah. And also spread the message to people who are not Muslims. The month of Ramadan, I think a long time back in USA, the students actually, they used to invite other students. So you can give some iftar to your neighbor who is not a Muslim, just to make aware of them, that this is our tradition. And we Muslim, we are very social people. We think of other people. And it doesn't matter that the other guy, whether he is a Muslim or not, we need to respect everybody. This is what Prophet ﷺ did. And about neighbors, I have never found that just help your neighbor if he is a Muslim. Anybody, with any faith or no faith. Now there are many people who don't have any faith. But he's a neighbor. So to obey or to fulfill the rights of the neighbors. So inshallah, I will briefly say the summary actually in Bengali. So dear viewers, let's practice what we do. তো আমি বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে রোজা মাসের আর বেশি দিন বাকি নেই। তো যে রোজা মাসের যে আয়াতটা আমি তেলাওয়াত করলাম, যে আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা বলছেন যে হে মুমিনগণ, তোমরা রোজা রাখো এবং এটা তোমাদের জন্য ফরজ করা হয়েছে, যেমন তোমাদের পূর্ববর্তী যারা ছিল তাদের উপরে ছিল, যাতে তোমরা তাকওয়া অর্জন করতে পারো। এই কথাটা এখানে বলা হয়েছে লাআল্লাকুম তাত্তাকুন। এর মানেটা হচ্ছে এটা যে রোজা রাখলে যে তাকওয়া হয়ে যাবে তা না, রোজার আসল জিনিসগুলো মানতে হবে। যে রোজা রেখে ঝগড়াঝাটি করা, কিবত করা, এগুলো হচ্ছে কি যে তখন ওই পয়েন্টগুলো কেটে যাবে। আর রোজাটা হচ্ছে এটা কোরআন শরীফের মাস, এখানে কোরআন শরীফ নাজিল হয়েছিল। তো আমরা যাতে কোরআন শরীফ পড়তে পারি, এর অর্থটা বুঝে পড়তে পারি, তাফসিরটা পড়তে পারি। আমাদের এই কোরআন শরীফ না বোঝার জন্য অনেক মানুষ আছে যে সূরা ফাতিহা পড়ে কিন্তু এর অর্থটা বুঝে না। এই সময়টা আমরা যদি কাজে লাগাতে পারি। আর ওই ইফতার বানায় যে অনেক সময় নষ্ট হয়, এটা হচ্ছে ইবাদতের সময়। আর একটা কষ্টের ব্যাপার হচ্ছে যে 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 আমাদের অস্ট্রেলিয়াতে যে 3 গ্রুপ 3 সময় যে যে চাঁদ চাঁদ দেখতেছে, আল্লাহ আমাদের সবাইকে এক করে দিক, আল্লাহ সবারটা অ্যাকসেপ্ট করুক। আমি এই কথা বলতে চাচ্ছি। আল্লাহ যেন আমাদের যেন গুনাহ মাফ করেন এবং আমরা যেন ঠিকমতো আল্লাহর ইবাদত বন্দেগী করতে পারি। সো ডিয়ার ভিউয়ার্স, it concludes my short clip. So let's all make dua for each other and also make dua for me so that I can fast and all of us can fast and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our fasting. And not to forget the oppressed people of the world. People are suffering in Sudan, in Palestine, everywhere. The people, the Jews and the Arabs, they should live peacefully. And I mentioned this, there are many good Jewish people there. They want to live peacefully. People, they want peace. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace and tranquility to this world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.